Hi grade 10, it's Miss O'D again.
And Miss Hughes.
So, in the last podcast, you looked at how you can find the exact value of angles between 0 and 360. So now you're an expert at that. We're going to look at angles that are bigger than 360 and how we can find those values. Pretty easy. If you got the last part, then you shouldn't have too many problems with that. So now we have an angle in the first example here of 510 degrees. And what we need to do is we need to work out if we turn, and we're still turning in the anti-clockwise direction, just like we did in the all stations to central circle. And we need to work out where we land, though, if we turn 510 degrees. So, Miss Hughes, you've turned 360 degrees there. So obviously what happens then? How do we turn 510 degrees?
Well, we need to do a little bit of a calculation. So we need to do 510 minus 360 to see what more there is to go. And that comes to 150. So actually, turning 510 degrees is the same as turning 360 and then turning 150 degrees. So we'll land somewhere up here.
Okay, so we just keep turning around the circle. So if we do 2 full turns, we've turned 720 degrees, and so on. So now that we have 150 degrees, we can then just use that because that's our corresponding angle in our normal unit circle. And we know then that tan 510 must be the same as tan 150. So then we start like we did before. Work out, go to our circle. Is tan positive or negative in that quadrant?
And S, so it's
we can see
it's going to be negative.
Tan is negative, so make sure you put that positive or negative down right from the beginning so you don't forget it. Now we work out our corresponding acute angle, so we know in that quadrant, as we can see in the circle up there, that we always do 180 minus theta. Doing some quick maths, we know that theta must be then 30 degrees. So that means that tan 150 is the same as tan 30. Now we can go to our right angle triangle up the top there, our exact values triangle. Tan is opposite over adjacent. From the triangle, from 30 degrees, we can see the opposite is 1 and the adjacent is root 3. And probably a good idea to rationalize that denominator, multiplying by root 3 over root 3. And so we get root 3 over 3. So our final answer, tan 510, is negative root 3 over 3.
Okay, same with the next one, cos 660. So this time we go around 360 degrees. And then there's still another 300 degrees left to go. So we're looking at 300 degrees. Now 300 degrees is, on our unit circle, is somewhere over here. Okay, so we're now looking for cos of 300. We need to find the associated acute angle, so it's in this quadrant. Oh, first of all, we need to decide the sign. I forgot that. We're in this quadrant here. Cosine is positive, so we know our answer is going to be positive. Okay, and then 360 minus theta is going to be 300. So our associated acute angle is going to be 60. So we need to find cosine of 60 and the usual process, so adjacent over hypotenuse, and over here the adjacent is 1 and the hypotenuse is 2. So the answer is 1/2 and it's positive. Next one.
And one more.
Oh, sorry.
There's another one.
Oh, that's why we had it again. Okay.
Extend the page.
Good idea.
Okay. So the next one, sine 585. So if we've turned 1 whole revolution, so that's 360 degrees. So what we have left to turn is 585 minus 360. That leaves us with another 225 to turn. So that's going to land us in that third quadrant there. So we know that we're looking for then tan of 220. Oh, sorry, sine of 225 degrees. So we look at our circle up the top and we know that sine is negative in that quadrant. So we know straight away put that negative down. So looking for tan 225.
Sine.
Oh, sorry. I like tan much better.
Sine 225.
Sorry. So we need to find the matching acute angle. So in that third quadrant, we do 180 plus theta. gives us 225, so theta must be 45. So now we're looking for sine 45 degrees.
That's right.
Now going to our 45-degree triangle, we can see sine is opposite over hypotenuse. And from the triangle, we see that sine is 1 over root 2. And again, rationalize the denominator, multiply by root 2 over root 2. And our final answer then will be negative root 2 over 2. Don't forget that negative.
Super. Okay. Then we move on to these angles which are negative. Now, all that means is that instead of going anti-clockwise like you normally do, you're going reverse, you're going to go clockwise, you're going to go backwards. And then after that, the process is fairly similar. So first of all, we need to locate negative 60. So negative 60 is going to be here. So then that's, we need to again go through the process of deciding the sign, etc. Okay, it's in this quadrant, so tan is going to be negative here. The associated acute angle is going to be 60, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I need to find tan 60, and so that's opposite over adjacent, and on my triangle, root 3 over 1. Which is just root 3. So the answer is negative root 3.
So it's pretty easy. It's pretty much the same as the positive angles, isn't it?
Yep, pretty straightforward.
Okay, let's try another one then. Cos minus 150. So again, remember all the negative is about just turning in the clockwise direction. So we turn clockwise 150 degrees. So we end up there in the third quadrant. And so we know that in the third quadrant there, cos is negative, so straight away we know our answer will be negative. Then we can now forget about that negative part of the angle, and we can now just find cos of 150. So we know to find cos of 150, the associated angle is 180 minus theta, so therefore theta must be 30 degrees. So we're looking for cos of 30. Then we just go to the triangle up the top. Cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. So up the top there we can see cos is cos 30. The adjacent side is root 3 and the hypotenuse is 2. So we know our final answer is minus root 3 over 2.
Excellent. And then the next one, same thing again. Rather than going anti-clockwise, we go clockwise. So we're actually going to land up here. Okay? Because we've gone 180 degrees and then another 45 degrees. So we land here. So sine is positive. So I know my answer is going to be positive. If I think of sine of 225 now that I can forget the sign, my associated acute angle, actually that's not quite, yeah, okay. So my associated acute angle is going to be 180 plus theta.
Oh, no, you keep
it's 225.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. All right, so that gives us that the associated angle is 45. So sine of 45 is going to be opposite over hypotenuse. So that's 1 over root 2. And again, if we rationalize the denominator, root 2 over 2. And it's positive, so root 2 over 2.
What you just need to be careful with is when we're doing the negative angles, only worry about the negative in terms of the direction and finding where it is. Once you've figured that part out, that tells us the sign. Then you can forget about it and just treat it as normal sine of 225. So then you go back and you move around the circle in the anti-clockwise direction.
Right, okay.
And then otherwise it gets a bit confusing with our unit circle up the top there.
Okay, so once you've decided whether your answer is positive or negative, you can forget this sign and just focus on finding sine 225, which would be here somewhere, and then you can find the associated acute angle.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.